All right, we're live, guys. I'm just waiting to see how many people join in the next couple of minutes. So we'll get started in about 3 minutes. So to everyone that just joined, we'll start in about 2 minutes. All right, we have about 22 people joining, so we'll get started in 30 seconds. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Great. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today alongside our friends at Ada and Pair. My name is Jose Herrera. I'm the CEO of Hire Horatio. For those of you who don't know who we are a next-gen outsourcing firm working primarily with fast-growing companies in the e-commerce, fintech, and healthcare space. We've been around for about 4 years, and today, we're super excited to have Ada and Pair joining us to talk a little bit about how we are complementing AI and CX, and how we're taking advantage of the latest advancements in AI. In terms of our company, we have about 1,400 employees based in the Dominican Republic, which is where we're based. And we're super excited to announce our official launch in Colombia as of last week. So super excited about that and continuing to service our clients wherever they want to be serviced. Just a quick checklist here. So don't forget to say hi and comment and like the stream. Ask any questions if you have, and we'll leave questions for the end. And obviously, don't forget to follow all of us on social media. Um, I already spoke a little bit about Horatio, but something that we're super proud of is how we focus on the employee experience to deliver amazing customer experience for our clients. And that starts with how we've built our culture center around our teammates. And you can see that through our office design. As you can tell, we focus on building out offices that are bright, open, that foster collaboration, and that are centered around the lifestyle of our teammates. So super proud about that and launching a new headquarter in the DR that you can see some pictures here. Um, and then in terms of what we do, as I said, we started primarily offering customer experience services for fast growing brands. We've since expanded into other categories, which include trust and safety and some other back office work for fintech companies like KYC, AML, and compliance work. So we expanded the breadth of services that we're offering now. So super excited also about that. In terms of like why Horatio and hopefully our friends at Pair would agree. I think we are we're a super tight knit group of people that work very closely with our clients. We see them as partners and as a true extension of their teams. I think we pride ourselves in providing a robust onboarding process and a seamless experience throughout the journey of our relationship. So we are super happy to be able to continue to grow with our clients and scale as well, which is very important for a lot of our clients. And in terms of our partners, we're super excited to have Ben here joining us from Ada. He's the director of partnerships with one of the technologies that we use and that we're super excited about. Obviously, a lot of our clients are asking about how can they integrate AI into their systems. We've been using Ada with some of our clients for a very long time, so this is nothing new. But today we wanted to give the space for Ben to talk a little bit about the advantages of Ada and how some of his clients are incorporating that as well. And I know it's going to be a super interesting discussion between Ada and our friends at Pair. So happy to have Emily Stubbs and Andrea Miner join us as well from the Pair team to talk a little bit about their experience with Ada and Horatio as well, and how they've been able to integrate both to provide an amazing customer service and an experience for their end users. So with that, I'll pass it over to Ben.
Hey, Jose, thanks so much for having me, and really excited to be here with our shared customer, Pair Eyewear. They're doing such great stuff. I should have been wearing glasses today, I realize now. So I work with Ada. We are a automated resolution company. Some would call us a chatbot. Our goal is to help businesses automatically resolve the greatest number of customer support inquiries across all of their channels and the languages that their customers speak with the least amount of effort from both the customer and the company or agents delivering that support. And, really our goal is to help companies deliver highly personalized and differentiated support in an omni-channel platform, and to really empower the people that are delivering support by making the builder experience within Ada very simple to use, low code, no code, and now with a lot of help from generative AI. So we work with brands that are really trying to focus on three main growth areas or evolution areas. The first is that they're trying to drive more cost-effective resolutions. So they want to bring down their cost of overall support, the cost of each inquiry that they have. The second is we want to help brands deliver a more modern customer support experience in general. And then the third is we want to empower the humans behind support, making sure that when it's handed off to a live agent, whether that's someone at your own company or outsourced with a great business like Hire Horatio, that those agents are empowered with the context they need, with the dashboard they need to be able to optimize, and to ensure that they're not answering repetitive questions and inquiries over and over and over again. So, you build once and you deploy everywhere in Ada. We live on web, we live in voice, we live across all the social messaging channels and in app. And really where we differentiate from the rest of the market is the enterprise quality and scalability of our platform and the ability to really fit your own business needs. So if you look at what we do with someone like Pair as an example, Pair has, and I'm sure they'll talk about this, but they have a lot of repetitive type FAQ inquiries, and then they also have a lot of Wismo inquiries. So for someone like Pair, we're connecting into their homegrown order management system, we're authenticating users, and we're ensuring that we're really delivering that first level of support in a consistent nature. And that's really what we try to achieve here. And our belief is that you should automate first and then use your humans wisely. And the goal is not to automate every single interaction, that we want to automate everything that you can in a safe and reliable manner. And we want to ensure that the inquiries that should be routed to human agents get routed to them faster and with more context, so that your agents are able to be super efficient and you're able to deliver that super meaningful CSAT and NPS that you're looking for. So really excited to be here. I think it's really cool to think about both AI and automation and automating resolutions paired with the human experience and how to deliver that amazing agent support. And looking forward to speaking with everyone here. I'll pass it over to you, Emily and Andrea.
Sure, thank you. We'll start with some intros just so you know who we are. I too did not wear my glasses today, so don't feel bad then. I work here and I still didn't wear them. So awesome. My name is Emily Stubbs. I'm the Associate Director of Customer Service at Pair, and I oversee our BPO relationships. And Andrea, if you would like to go.
Miner. I'm our CX manager here at Pair, and I primarily manage our internal CX team as well as our partnership with Ada. So much of my day-to-day is in the bot, trying to figure out how we can make it better all the time, and just getting feedback from the agents that are interacting with customers on a day-to-day basis on how we can improve it. So that's a little on me.
Thank you. Awesome. Yes. So Andrea and I obviously work very closely together, especially in relation to our chatbot. How do we make our chatbot smarter? And it's definitely a lot of like push and pull between us and Ada. So not only is, it's AI generated, so it's always learning from us, but we can also learn from Ada as well. So of course, we get feedback from our agents over at Horatio and internally about what people are talking about. How can we make Ada smarter? How can we put more into, the questions that are being answered? But it also will tap into our FAQ. So it's really cool to watch the new generative replies happening now, tapping into our FAQ. But in turn, our agents can also learn from their experiences in Ada as well. So they can go back through the chats that might have been with the bot. They can see the replies that have already been sent and then actually navigate the conversation from there. So that's one big area that we definitely use our team and Ada kind of seamlessly together. And then our, next sort of way that we love to integrate both together is through the automated responses. So, of course, Ada is a chatbot, so it's trying to take as many tickets away from us as possible. We love this about Ada. It definitely helps us save quite a bit of money throughout the year. And so it does free up time for specifically our Horatio agents to really focus on other areas. So, because of that, we've actually been able to move agents to our phone team, which Andrea can speak to in a minute, and then also even to our socials or doing longer, like in-depth projects for us as well, like ticket tags and things like that. So it's really unique the way that they can both really work together and take so much off of our plate. Andrea, if you would like to speak more to the bot and the work you do there and how it kind of helps you with the internal team.
Yeah, like Emily kind of touched on briefly, I think for us and for a lot of businesses, really knowing your customers and knowing what their behaviors are is going to get you the most out of, not only your agents, but also just the bot management piece. There are a lot of things that can be automated, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they all should be automated. There are many things that our customers can self-serve on, but they're not necessarily going to be willing to. So it really is about finding that balance of not creating additional frustrations when they come to the bot thinking they're going to talk to somebody, but also empowering them to utilize tools that you already have in place for them to be able to solve their problems on their own. And then, like Emily also touched on with our phone channel, that is notoriously the most expensive support channel for most, if not all, businesses. And our customers definitely head straight to phones if they aren't getting answers on chat. So it really is also about figuring out what questions they're asking and how we can best serve them through the bot. And if not through those automated responses, then how can we, at the next step, once they reach an agent, empower them to be able to answer it as quickly as and efficiently as possible. So yeah, it really is just about finding that balance, knowing your customers well, and then also knowing your agents well and taking their feedback and really applying that. I think that's been a big learning piece for me. Is I can look through conversations all day long, but hearing straight from the agent how a conversation went and what kind of pain points they're seeing is definitely helpful as I go in and manage answers, update them, and even add new ones. So
Yeah, I think, this is what we all call AI and human in the loop, which is the combination of using AI tools like Ada and incorporating that with real-time agents and human support, which when you combine the two, obviously enhances the customer experience. One of the things that we would love to hear more about, and this question goes particularly for Andrea. She's the one that deals with Ada mostly, is in terms of like training the AI chatbot. Like, how do you think about properly training the bot and making sure they have the most accurate piece of information, so that it ensures a positive customer interaction, and it also helps the agent close out that loop?
yeah, I think for me, the biggest piece is really looking at conversations regularly and digging into every single message that's being sent. I think it can be easy to kind of summarize a conversation especially when it's things that you see repeatedly, and kind of have an idea of how it flows. But really looking into every single conversation and seeing where things go wrong, where things went right, and making modifications based on that. Our training has come a long way. When I took it over, probably September last year, there were a lot of answers that had barely any training and a lot that had way too much, which then also creates the opposite effect of it just creates confusion within Ada of what answer it's going to serve up. So it really is about finding that sweet spot of giving it enough training, but not too much to where it's getting confusing. So it definitely takes time, and it takes a lot of just really understanding the conversations and doing regular audits of it.
Great. And in terms of efficiencies that you've seen since implementing Ada, can you talk a little bit about that? What have been some of the benefits that you've seen from implementing Ada from an efficiency standpoint, and also has that translated into improved or increased customer satisfaction and loyalty because you're getting back to customers faster? And also, I've personally seen it on the agent side of things. Obviously, it definitely helps them as well have clear answers and be able to close the loop. But what are some of the things or benefits you've seen from Ada so far since implementing it?
Yeah, I think, biggest piece, like Emily kind of already touched on, is just improving agent experience. I think it becomes really easy to get focused on customer experience because that is what we do. But we also can't leave out the agent experience because these tools are meant to not only help customers, but help our agents so that they can do things that are maybe more meaningful or really be the support in a higher touch conversation. And so I think really just allowing agents to have time to dedicate to other projects that aren't just, what's my order status day in and day out, and really contributing to their growth as well. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do too. We're here to provide an incredible customer experience, but we also want to see agents grow. And I think that's been the biggest piece for me, at least, to be able to see where people can grow beyond just answering, regular questions day in and day out, and have things like Ada help with that so they can continue on their career path. But Emily, anything you would add to that?
Yeah, I think the one thing I would probably add to, or just expand on it, not necessarily add, is something that we again want to see is like promotion of our agents. We want to see them scaling and growing, and that does include our BPOs as well as internally. So it is really interesting to see them, if they do have the capacity to actually take more escalations because they are just gaining more experience with more complicated issues. That's a great way for them to do so. And that actually might not necessarily be something we want Ada to handle. We want Ada to handle Wizmos. We want them to handle how do I return my order, just really simple replies. But then again, our agents can kind of focus on what are like the big issues that maybe need some more digging or need a little bit more like personal touch or empathy. They can actually focus on that now by having Ada kind of step in. And I think Ada is deflecting like a crazy amount of chats for us monthly. It's over 1,000 chats per month. So that's a lot of legwork that our agents do not have to do, which in turn, again, frees up so much time for them to actually put a little bit more care and attention into those, more sensitive, I guess, replies. We are dealing with a medical device. Glasses can be really personal. So, it puts a little bit more personal touch by using AI in a way.
I think what you just said there is so interesting because often what we'll find is, as you're able to automate more and more resolutions and have customers self-serve, especially if you've done what your team has done in terms of actually integrating into your order management systems, et cetera, then agents just have smaller ticket and chat and phone call queues in general, which means that when someone does need to connect with an agent, whether that's them contacting them directly or because you've decided that based off of that intent or that sentiment, you want to escalate it more quickly, an agent's able to capture that inquiry a lot faster. Often what we find, though, is that once automation is in place and is working properly, average handle time will actually increase because the types of inquiries that get through to your agents are more personalized, are about the shopping experience, are about, hey, I already have a few pairs of these. How do they work? And you can, in a way, turn your agents into like true customer success or CX advisors, whether you want to go as far as salespeople or not. So it's interesting to think through how your metrics change, right? Where initially you're probably very focused on reduce agent handle time. And then as you start to reduce ticket queue, you actually start to, in a way, increase agent handle time because they're only handling those more personalized requests. Does that resonate with what you guys have seen?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, something really funny is like kind of turning your agents into salespeople. So, you never want to like push customers too much, but maybe if they don't need to focus on the kind of like simple day-to-day questions. Like then they can be like, can I upsell this product? You know, can I add something else to this order or lenses or whatever it might be? So that is something actually that has been a focus and a discussion piece for us kind of internally is, okay, how can we actually like utilize our agents to maybe drive up AOV or like return customers. So yeah, that's actually really interesting you mentioned that.
Yeah, and I think obviously, and that's where working with an outsourced service like Horatio really comes into play, because their agents are able to do that, right? You can go and pivot them. They're well trained enough to actually go and deliver that experience. But it comes down to metrics, right? And that's why it's so important to, as you're thinking about your automation strategy, also think through how are you going to be tracking success of automation, because everyone, you may have to hire a bit of a different skill set in a way, but at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is, does your support agent's dashboard look at how quickly they're getting people, how quickly they're closing tickets or ending phone calls, and how small their queue is? If that's all they're being metriced on, then they're not going to spend the time upselling, even if that's what's best for your business. And so it's really important to think through it holistically and saying, what are the true goals of rolling out automation? And that's why, we try and think about it in those three buckets, right? Like, we always want to drive cost-effective resolutions, but that may not be the most important thing. The most important thing may be about delivering the modern experience, or it may be just about empowering your agents and ensuring that they have more time to answer questions and help your business. And then also just reduce a lot of the manual tasks that they're doing, right? So every time that we can automate the tag of a ticket being created, right? Or not require an agent who's working at Horatio to go into your backend OMS and look up a system and toggle between two windows, that's giving agents back more time to do what they do best, which is, wow your customers and make them feel amazing about your brand.
Yeah, I remember that happening when we implemented Ada with another client. The customer was like, why is average handling time increasing so much? And I'm like, well, that's what you want. I mean, we're handling more complex interaction and letting the bot handle the low-hanging fruit, which is at the end of the day better for the agents, as you've all mentioned. So definitely you're increasing the skill set of the agent, and also the complexity of the tickets that are being handled by the humans. So we're definitely seeing a lot of that. Ben, can you talk a little bit about, who's your ideal customer? Like, at what size should I consider, if I'm an e-commerce brand, should I consider implementing a solution like Ada, and how, complicated or easy is it to implement?
Yeah. So, I mean, the ease of implementation is really changing day to day with the emergence of generative AI. And I think, Emily, you spoke a little bit about this just in terms of what you've been seeing and the changes of how we're now able to query your knowledge base and just pull up answers. But, Ada at its core has always been a very easy to deploy and fast product. Generally we'd say a go live is within 30 days. And you're going to see at least 30% of your support volumes that go through channels that Ada is working on to be reduced within a 30-day time frame. Now with generative AI and the ability to just ingest your existing knowledge base and kind of spin up an automated experience based off of that, brands can start seeing value in a matter of hours, truthfully, that can be live on their website. Now, we really do believe in a mix between what we call declarative, which is, you're building in a dashboard and kind of deciding what the inputs and outcomes are, versus truly generative, which is you're asking a question and it's just querying and pulling information from a database. And that's the hybrid that all of us as CX leaders are going down in this journey of bringing this into use case. So, brands are going to see value in working with Ada in as little as a month. Of course, as you want to go and connect into your custom OMS like Pair has, et cetera, that may take more time. And it's very important that as you go down this journey, you have alignment from the internal teams that are needed in order to grant access to those APIs. If you're using Shopify, Magento, there's an out-of-the-box integration, but we want to make sure that there's alignment across the whole org about putting those things forward. In terms of who's the right fit for a product like ours, generally we find that once you've surpassed 5 dedicated customer support agents, you're going to start to see the value in working with Ada's smaller end packages, investing in automation as opposed to investing in consistently more agent headcount. And once you get above 10 agents, then you're rolling, and there's no doubt that you should be using automation in your practice. And we really focus on like company size, so like total employee count, between 75 and 10,000. So that's kind of the range that we work in most generally. We work across all verticals. We do very well in any vertical that's kind of digitally native, where you're generally talking to your customers through an app or through a website. E-commerce, fintech, SaaS, gambling, travel, and communications or telco are big verticals for us. Yeah. And, for the way that we always think about this is the goal with Ada is not necessarily to reduce your agent headcount. The goal is to do what Emily talked about and use your agents more effectively, use your outsourcers more effectively to be able to keep them consistent and turn them into salespeople and advocates for your brand, as well as tier 2 support. Generally, we're working with companies that are dealing with big fluctuations of support needs based off of time of year, seasonality, based off of language support, things like that, right? And what we really want to be able to do is empower you to keep a core support team that's very well trained and very aligned to your metrics, and reduce your need for expensive hiring and firing and training, et cetera, and seasonality. And then use that, as you said, Jose, the human in the loop model, where agents are learning, they're going in and saying, hey, we're seeing this influx of new inquiries, let's go and train that in the bot. So that you kind of have this flywheel effect where you're very quickly able to automate the inquiries that are getting through to agents. Then those get taken out of the agent queue, and there's a new set of inquiries that begin to start to be automated. And that's a really important aspect of our product from an ongoing learning and deployment perspective.
Definitely. And I think that also for those companies that want to offer 24/7 customer support, it becomes very expensive to have teams work 24/7. And I think incorporating a tool like Ada has helped a lot, at least during those after hours, to deflect and handle some of those inquiries that come over after hours. So
in that sense, it's also about creating the consistent smiling face to your business in a way where no one likes the experience of coming to a website and clicking on live chat and saying, sorry, live chat's not available, right? Or going through a chatbot flow and then saying, like, there's no one here to talk to you, like, please send us an email. And I think one of the most important things to think about in rolling out automation is, how do you create a consistent entry point for all of your customers, where ideally they're able to authenticate and self-serve on the main types of inquiries that are best suited for self-service. But then when an escalation does take place, don't make it seem like it's because you couldn't solve their problem, or because like this is the second best option in them delivering support. You want to escalate them in this super seamless manner where they don't even necessarily understand that there was another option, right? And then even better is to give them options, right? Allow them to do a scheduled callback so that they don't have to call and wait on hold, right? And then an agent can call them back, but has the context of the conversation. Or if an inquiry is best suited for email because it requires some back and forth, like it requires them to go and look up their prescription for glasses and then send something to insurance. That's probably not best suited to be done over live chat or over the phone. So you can take that type of inquiry and just make sure that it routes to that right department internally. So it really helps set up the right lines of communication within an organization as well.
Definitely. I think we have two more questions from the audience. So the first one is surrounding generative AI and how you guys are thinking about the ethical considerations that come with generative AI in terms of like data privacy and transparency and all of that. How are you guys thinking and training your bots to like do that? And then also, when it comes to analyzing customer interactions and improving response times, how is Ada taking or analyzing existing customer interactions to improve your training models to continue to iterate and deflect even more as you continue learning about that brand that you're working with?
Yeah. So our whole focus is on, in that word I've used a bunch of times, automated resolution. And I think that's quite different than like the industry term of containment or deflection, because our goal isn't to stop interactions from being sent to agents, right? Our goal is to help a customer resolve their inquiry. And whether that's in an automated manner or with an agent, that's the goal that we're trying to push towards. So, safety and reliability is a big thing now with generative AI. It's not as simple as going in and connecting everything into ChatGPT. You know, you need to be able to answer a question of why did my company give a customer this answer as a response, and you can't do that through the black box of traditional generative AI. So how Ada operates is that we work very closely with Anthropic and OpenAI and a number of LLMs. Our product from the ground up is built on the foundational model of using their software. And that's both in the use cases of making the builder experience easier. So like, magically rewriting things or automatically suggesting content, etc., or through the ingestion and use of content from your existing knowledge bases. So, but there's also, Ada specific customer service oriented models that sit on top of that. And then on top of that, there's vertical specific models. And the way to best think about this is, if you go into a standard LLM or chatbot powered by any of these companies and you say like, hey, I need to talk to someone, it's probably going to articulate that or understand that as like, I need personal help. I need to speak with someone. I'm having issues in my life, etc. More towards like the therapy module, right? Versus in customer support, it's very clear what that means, right? Or if you're thinking about, between different verticals, if you're dealing with a SaaS company in customer support and you say I need to make adjustments to my seat, that means the license, that's a human using software, versus an airline, a seat is a physical thing that you maybe want to buy a meal for, etc. Right? So those are all like very nuanced aspects that take place in support and then take place in specific industries. And that's really how Ada tunes models on top of the more standard LLMs. So it is possible to launch a bot in Ada where you're wholly ingesting a knowledge base. There's not really an experience of you adapting anything. It's just pulling content from your knowledge base articles in a conversational manner. But we really view it as the mix of that and the use of these more streamlined customer support models to really deliver things that contextually make sense. And you want to make sure that they're safe, that they're reliable, and that you actually understand how to answer the question of like, why did our business present this? Future state is the ability to actually, tweak adjustments of tone. Do you want your brand to be more playful, more assertive in your responses, and things like that? Yeah, that's how we think about it here at Ada.
Thank you. Question for Pair. What would be some of the main takeaways on the ways Ada and Horatio work together to improve your CX?
Yeah, I mean, I think I touched a little bit about kind of the push and pull between like Ada and just our agents in general. I think, just overall, we definitely use our Horatio agents in more sort of like departments than just, I think, like answering questions. So again, we can utilize them for like training, or we can use our agents for our phone support, social media, etc. So I think, again, it sort of gives our agents the opportunity to move to other areas of CX and not just, again, answering questions to customers, although it's very helpful. But it's really cool to see how Ada can like open up those opportunities, but also even like help with training. I think actually training was mentioned in a question somewhere, but we can also use it in training if we need to. We can have our trainers review questions or even go through the bot themselves, so they can go on the site and ask the bot questions, and they can actually get answers for those questions and be learning by interacting with our bot, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's just a couple of ways.
Thank you. And I think last question before we wrap it up. This one's for Ben. Could you please elaborate on the advantages that the implementation of Ada offers with respect to establishing your brand and maintaining a cohesive brand identity throughout the various communication channels that you guys handle?
Yeah. So think about, like I use the analogy of your business is, think about your company, your business as like an office building, where if every channel has its own entry point, it's kind of like your customers are just flying in through your windows and running into different employees' offices, and they don't really know like who these people are, where they came from, what's going on. Obviously, if you run a building, you want to have a receptionist. You want to have everyone come to that receptionist and then kind of greet everyone in a nice manner and put them in the right direction. So we call it like multimodal, or you can think about it as omni-channel. You build once in Ada. It can be deployed on web in an app. It can be deployed across the majority of the social messaging channels that you would use: Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter DMs, etc. And recently, we launched on voice as well. So that's a really exciting concept in your ability to kind of, regardless of channel, greet customers in the same way or adjust the tone and greeting based off of the channel that you're in. But ensure that you're kind of creating this pathway to your agents so that no matter what, all of the information that's needed to resolve an inquiry is passed on to them. So what we'll see, is that companies will get rid of their fill forms altogether, right? Like, because if you fill out a fill form, you don't want to have tons of different fields asking lots of questions, but then often a fill form will still require a lot of back and forth. And often it's easier to do that in a conversational manner, which is more natural, and then have it create a ticket or hand off to a live chat, etc. So, our product is not a marketing product. We're really focused on automating resolutions, but a lot of brands will use us for marketing use cases, right? You can have proactive notifications on a website. You can help people walk through the process. In the Pair Eyewear situation, likely there's an area where people get stalled as they're choosing their frames and having to fill in their prescription, right? So if everybody knows that in the user journey perspective, how do you go and send a proactive notification if someone's been sitting on that page for 5 seconds or something like that? So I think the way to think about Ada in the concept of brand is really about that consistent and reliable brand voice across all channels. Even if you're going to have in-house and outsourced teams, it doesn't really matter, because the automation will be that same friendly persona and then pass everything through that's needed. And I think your bot is named Perry, is that right? Yeah. So Pair has done an amazing job of this, but brands in general have fun with it, right? They give a real persona to their bot. It becomes an extension of their brand itself, which is a really fun way to interact with customers.
Awesome, thank you. We're almost at the very end of this webinar, but I wanted to highlight some of the things that I've taken away from our conversation. I think obviously, generative AI is here to stay, and leveraging tools like Ada is something that not only empowers your customers, but also empowers your agents and allows them to provide a better customer experience overall. I think we also talked about finding the right balance between AI and the human interaction, and making sure that you're leveraging it the right way so that you continue to provide personalized responses, continue to remain empathetic, speaking your brand voice, but also continue to leveraging the latest AI tools. I think Andrew also talked a little bit about making sure that you're training the ADA bot correctly and making sure that you're constantly gathering feedback from the agents as well, which is something that Emily mentioned, making sure that they are empowered to provide that feedback. That is training the bot and ensuring that they are set up to provide a better customer experience and handling more complex interactions, which obviously doesn't necessarily replace your workforce, as Ben mentioned, but augments it and makes sure that overall you're increasing customer satisfaction while also reducing the time it takes to get back to a customer, which overall is a win-win for everyone. I think we're super excited about the future that AI holds for CX. I think we see a lot of potential to continue to provide value for our customers by incorporating tools like ADA. And I think we're super happy with the fact that we're also able to make our agents happier as well, because they don't have to deal with some of those repetitive tasks and they can focus on higher end interactions as well. So again, those were my takeaways. I hope that everyone enjoyed the conversation today. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Andrea, for your time. And thank you, Ben, for joining us as well. And if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. And I'm happy to connect you with Ben over at ADA as well to learn a bit more about the tool. So again, thank you all. Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram account, and have a great rest of the day. If you guys are in New York, stay safe. I know it's a little bit foggy over there.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us, and we have lots of great content on generative AI, as well as preparing your organization for automation and kind of like a CX leader toolkit, because we know how much is involved in rolling this out across the entire org and how much buy-in is needed. So we've worked on a lot of content to help leaders with that, because we know it's not easy. It's just as hard to manage the external as the internal often. So here to support on that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.